While I've yet to see an Illumination movie that I love, I know they will eventually make one. I would like to see more original movies from them in their upcoming schedule, as it's primarily filled with sequels. But they are still a young animation studio, filled with many brilliant artists, directors, and animators.
Maybe Illumination right now is making something that will be completely different and new for the future, that it could be the next to be praised as the best animated film we've recently gotten. The future is a big mystery, so it could possibly happen.
Hello everybody, welcome to Jonathan Battle Reviews. When it comes to films based on video games, it's more have an infamous reputation, which I'll get to one soon. But in the 2020 decade, things are starting to pick up, like how that reputation is making a real comeback. If you look at Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog movies, how they got some decent reviews but enormous box office results. But that's mostly the live action ones I'm mentioning. But when it comes to animated ones, in 2016, that was a pivotal year for that one. Like, not only like with the success of the Angry Birds movies, the first one that year, and 2019 with its sequel, but there was another one with not so great results. On the topic of animated films based on video games, there was one back in 2001 titled Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, and even with it have its original creator Hironobu Sakaguchi, its enormous box office results only damaged its film division, Square Pictures. But back on 2016, another one of these films, like before the Angry Birds movie, there was Ratchet and Clank, and on top of being a critical and financial failure, it not only caused a more dent on its infamous reputation a little more, but also caused its company Rainmaker Entertainment, also responsible for Escape for Planet Earth, to be mostly going on bad terms. And there's nothing like that ever since, including having a planned Sly Cooper movie, which will probably never see light of day. Here's today's topic. We have the Super Mario Bros. Movie, a collaboration between Nintendo and Illumination. Now, when it comes to Nintendo, there was a live-action adaptation of the Super Mario Bros. Back in 1993 with Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper. And let me tell you, it was absolutely nothing like the original games. But another one of Nintendo's live-action adaptations in 2019, along with that sequel to the Angry Birds movie that I mentioned, there was a live-action adaptation of Pokemon called Detective Pikachu, and that was a sign how films based on video games will have a much better reputation. When it comes to adapting films based on video games, we have Illumination on this. Now, beforehand, Illumination was very known for adapting Dr. Seuss books known as The Lorax or The Grinch, and they were mostly approved due to having Dr. Seuss's widow, Audrey Geisel, overseeing the projects for her approval. And while the reception was not as beloved, they did do good at the box office with her help in 2018 when she passed away. All the rights to adapting any more animated Dr. Seuss films are now in the hands of Warner Animation Group, which I don't know when we'll have that Cat in the Hat adaptation. When it comes to today's topic, with Shigeru Miyamoto, the legendary creator of Mario, how did this film turn out with Christopher Meledandri's collaboration? While it may seem simple on the surface, its great strength is its faithfulness. Like, here's what I mean. Like, in the beginning and the film, it all begins set in Brooklyn. Like, there's some key elements in the 1993 disaster, but unlike that film where it was more based off of source material, when it gets to the middle of the film, it's when things become more immersive and more action-packed, when Mario has to beat the odds in order to take down the villain. Its faithfulness relies in how there are many references and Easter eggs that maybe non-fans like myself wouldn't actually get. Along with Easter eggs, there's also some action-packed scenes that can really get you on the edge of your seat or something, or make you feel excited. Even non-fans can appreciate its appeal. So, simple story, but faithful execution of the video games itself. The animation, has to be Illumination's most colorful animation ever since the Dr. Seuss adaptations. Lorax's and Grinch's world of Truffula Forest and Whoville were highly immersive and very colorful, along with the attention to detail from the textures and the world they lived in. Everything makes it filled and alive. Like in Truffula Forest, where there's like mostly bears, fish, and birds, and Whoville, it's mostly who's. They bring out the most liveliness in the animation team. When it comes to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the team at Illumination really upped their game, along with its $100 million budget. I'll tell you, the animation is quite stunning. Like, look at Mushroom Kingdom and the Darklands, compare to the former, where everything is colorful and lively. The latter is more dark and ominous with its lava and darkness to it. And along with like the effects from the video games, where Mario gets mushroom from the question box and then maximizes or changes, the effects team really went all out with adding more those particle effects of the sparkles and all that stuff. And I have to say, it was a pretty amazing touch. Now, the character designs. Well, this isn't the first time that the characters like Mario, Luigi, or Princess Peach were rendered in computer animation graphics. I can say that they are more cinematically detailed in the film version, like with the texture on the brothers' overalls and their hats and clothing, along with the hairs and Princess Peach's. Gotta say, while it may not be too much to make it uncanny, it really showed that the team really pushed the limits of animation, and maybe this can be their best example of how they took risk at the animation. So overall, the animation felt spectacular, from the production design and character designs, and really truly shows how Illumination is taking it to the next step in the animation. Now for the characters. Before I get into them, I must first address the elephant in the room, the all-star cast. When it was first announced, it caused quite a controversy along it. Probably Illumination's most controversial move in marketing since the Lorax. When it comes to the voice casting, most of them would mostly play themselves rather than giving the characters accents. Like Chris Pratt is known for Emmett in the Lego Movie. He's just like playing himself in the body of Mario. Along with Charlie Day, who's also played Spaceman Benny, also in the Lego Movie. He's like playing Charlie Day himself in Luigi's body. And Princess Peach, played by Anna Taylor-Joy, or known playing Marley in the Playmobil movie. It's more like playing herself in Princess Peach's body. And finally, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Well, Seth Rogen was a big one, since he's no stranger to voiceovers, like playing Mantis in Kung Fu Panda, Bob in Monsters vs. Aliens, and that sausage character in the adult-oriented anime film Sausage Party. Well, it's mostly playing themselves in Donkey Kong's body. But when it comes to their voice actings, I say they did a fine job. Not the best job, but fine. But what about the personalities of the characters? Well, starting off with Mario and Luigi, as they are established as the Plumbing Brothers, with Mario being the more competent one, and Luigi being not the brightest, but still optimistic something. I say their dynamic is that they always look out for each other, and that's what makes them partners all the way through. When going through the universes, starting off with Toad, well, he's mostly the sidekick of Mario and Princess Peach. He does have a way of protecting these two, even if it's the slightest danger. Now on to Princess Peach's. Well, she strays away from the damsel in distress, like Axor cliche. They really beefed her up to make her more action-packed. And that's pretty rare to see nowadays. Donkey Kong, he's mostly like the enemy turned ally after defeating him in a challenge, so Princess Peach, Toad, and Mario could get an army from the Jungle Kingdom. I'd say Donkey Kong is quite okay, I guess. But then comes the villain, Bowser. Wow, what can I say? Well, unlike the villain played by the late Dennis Hopper, Bowser is exactly accurate to its characters. While he may be just a reptilian character who plans to take over Mushroom Kingdom and marry Princess Peaches, he does have a legitimate dark side himself and can be quite threatening. The casting did okay in the performance of portraying the video game characters. The personalities of the characters really mostly got them exactly accurate. Well, what can I say? While Super Mario Bros. Right now has the worst critical reception on Rotten Tomatoes since the 2017 My Little Pony movie, in my perspective, I can say that the Super Mario Bros. Movie is quite a treat for not only Mario fans, but I truly believe non-fans of Mario can really get into the game if they watch this film itself. While the story is simple, it does have immersive world building with Mushroom Kingdom and Darklands and all that stuff. The animation upped its game thanks to the team Illumination and Miyamoto overseeing the team, along with the characters being portrayed as mostly themselves, along with okay voice acting. I see no harm in watching this movie itself at all. And it's really disheartening because I was truly sure Illumination would bring the critics and public, mostly the critic side, down the house with this film. Like, they are willing to have their time to shine in the animation circle and really unleash their true potential and take risk on this. But this might not be it, but they can be very close. You'll see this Christmas when they have their next Illumination film. While it's not emotionally powerful, it's still a fun watch to get into. So, that said, I would give the Super Mario Bros. Movie an 8 out of 10 for being a good film. Join me next time, because in the summer it'll be very busy. Starting with one of my next reviews, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And there will be a lot more to talk about with that film as well as this one. So stay tuned, take care.